Up good.
Well, are there like assigned seats, or do we know where?
No, you can sit wherever. We're just wherever.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Quick question. Where are you at with this?
Would it be inappropriate?
So he can get this. Yep, she's an elementary PE teacher. She runs a program called She's but it's okay. I mean, she's so good. Used to play ball. And I hear she's
Anytime, Mr. Renner.
Hey guys.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. First off, I want to say that Bella's look good. Actually, clean up, look real good. So we're excited about tonight. Celebrate a great season. Celebrate a great team. It adds to the history of the school. First off, I want to start also by welcoming everybody to our brand new Performing Arts Center, which this is a beautiful place. We want to respect it. And I want to thank Mr. Van Reen, Ms. Steiner, Ms. Huey for helping us set up today to get this going. So, but again, welcome. We're excited here. We're going to start with a couple of thank yous here and get rolling. But the other thing I want to add is, again, we're very blessed to have this in person with the senior parents. So we would ask that you respect the mask rule that our district policy has in place. So please, as much as possible, keep that mask up. Like we're supposed to do, okay? So thank you. First off, I want to start by thanking a few people. I think it's very important, to give thanks to a lot of people who have had a big part of this season, a big part of this program. And first, I want to start by thanking my family, my wife Amanda, who's at home watching, my son, who I get to coach now, Hayden. My other son, Holden, who's here, and then of course Lola, can't miss her on the sideline. So I can't thank them enough. There's a lot that goes into a season, a lot of time away, a lot of sacrifice by all these guys and their families. And so I want to thank them and tell them that I love them very much. Second thing is, I want to thank all these coaches up here. They spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time together. Off season, summer, in season, and there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of personalities up here. And but we have a great staff. Nobody up here has too big of an ego to not have one goal in mind, and that's what is best for these young men that are in the crowd. And that's what I appreciate about them the most, is they're a great group of men, good role models, good husbands, good fathers, everything you want your son to be coached by. And so thank you guys very, very much. I also want to thank their families. Obviously, like I said earlier, they spend a lot of time away and a lot of sacrifice goes into that. So thank them. I want to roll through this here pretty quickly so we can get to the fun stuff. So that I do want to thank our high school administration, Dr. Holder, who's first year this year at the school. The situation she stepped into, I can't imagine. As the person that's in charge of over 100 staff and over 1,300 kids and their safety, and what she has done has just been tremendous. She's a positive person, very energetic person, a person that loves athletics, understands the importance of athletics, but on top of that, she holds a high standard when it comes to everything in the school, academics, athletics, activities, everything that's involved. And that's one thing I appreciate about her very, very much. Mr. Van Reen, our athletic director, and again, just a great person. He's positive and always willing to help. And he's a great boss to have. So thank you very much. Marilyn Chrysler, our activities director and associate principal, and then Jen Smith, Miss Jen Smith, our other associate principal. All of our administration is top notch, and you can't ask for a better administration to work for. And what these kids get to experience in their high school career and what they get to experience in the season has a lot to do with our administration and what they're willing to support us with. And so again, huge part of our success. I want to thank our district administration, our superintendent, Dr. Harwood, our facilities directors, Steve Deggy. As you can see now, we have probably the best facilities in the state of Kansas. I can't think of another school that's really close right now. And and that's from the top down. That leadership from the top down allows that to happen. And so these kids are very, very lucky and very blessed. I tell them all the time, do not take that for granted ever. 11 years ago when we got here, there was nothing like what we have now. And it was earned. There's no doubt it was earned. And I don't want anybody to ever take that for granted. I also want to thank our team character coach, Mr. Dick Dearwester. He was going to be here tonight, but then the schedule came up. Something came up in the schedule and he couldn't make it. He's a guy that comes every Thursday and talks to these young men and gives them good quality stories to think about character, about developing that character, and again, another big part of our success. I want to thank our high school custodial staff, Brady Lorenz, who's now moved on, and staff, and of course, always our number one fan, Rhonda, who every Friday is wishing these guys good luck, and every Monday is shaking their hand and giving them hugs. And that's one thing that we really appreciate. I want to thank our facility staff, Tony Leonard, who works out on the field and does a great job on game days and gets everything cleaned up. Thank our high school secretarial staff, Edie Way, Lynn Bath, Amy Sanders, Darlene Dees. I lean on those guys a ton. We all lean on those guys a ton, and those ladies, and they do a tremendous job. I want to thank our high school band director, Deb Sumner, Renee Huey. Again, we got great atmosphere of games, and they're a big part of that as well too. Also, Silver Stars and MB cheer squads. I'm always there for these guys, always supporting these guys. Again, a huge part of the experience that they get to have throughout their high school career. I want to thank the journalism department, the MBTV classes, and their outstanding coverage. I can't think of a better staff there that covers the school better than they do. I want to thank our high school athletic trainer, Clinton McAllister, the KU Med staff, our Middle Valley Booster Club, Dave Twigg, Mark Jacobs, who lead that, as well as all the other board members on that as well too. JAGPAC, the board that's on there, Megan Caldwell, Shane Jansen, Julie Marsh, Rachel Hartman as well, and all the other moms that help out on throughout the weeks during the season. That help lead that stuff. Thursday night meals, our away game meals, the Gatorade, the water. There's so much that goes into behind the scenes that maybe some people know about, not everybody knows about. And it's a big part, again, of what these guys get to experience and also the success they get to have. I want to thank Julie Bauer, who puts up with a lot and sends out a lot for me and gives you guys the information, the parents. I want to thank Brian Rocky, our stats, Nick Pierce, of course, the Jaguars. Brady Gabbert, is he here tonight? Anybody knows who plays music in the game? It's Brady. He does a great job with that. So thank you, Brady. Can't thank Lori and Todd Haviger enough. I think we need to give them a round of applause. But they do. What they do and the memories that we all get to keep because of what they shoot on Friday nights and other events. It's just, can't thank him enough. Jeffrey Stowe, I don't know if everybody knows, but he helps us video games on Friday nights, the actual game footage that we put in the huddle. Volunteers his time, only does it because he loves it, and he loves these kids. So again, thank him very much. Again, brought up already, Megan Caldwell, Shane Jansen for the Sunday night meals for the coaches. All the dads that help with pregame setup. Gonna miss some of you guys, gonna keep some of you guys, so it's gonna be, we'll keep that going. But thank you very much for that. All the dads that pull the trailers, Christy Bauer, Sean Deggy, Sean Side. Our ball boys, Casey McAllister, Golden, Ryan Helm, Kenny Charbonneau, and of course our team girl, Noah. And my dad, who actually runs the show there. So, I want to thank him because I know those guys are running all over the field typically. So he ends up being involved the majority of the time. So I want to thank Nick Garcia, our NBJFCA director, and all the board of directors on NBJFCA. A lot of these guys here grew up in that program now, and they really set the expectation. They set the foundation for what these guys are able to experience and the success that they have. All NBJFC coaches. I want to thank the Shawnee Police Department, Officer Mo, who helped our home game security, and then of course our state game police escorts. That's a great experience for these kids. Also on the back, if you grab one of these, if they're out there, on the back is our sponsors. When you see them, thank them. If you need some type of business to deal with, look at going to them. They're a tremendous part, again, of this program and success that we have. And I know I missed many people, but I just want to thank everybody involved here because it's a huge part of our program and our community. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and announce the coaches. Just kind of go through who they are. Everybody knows who they are, but I want to have you guys stand. Drew Hudgens, our defense coordinator, assistant head coach. Aaron Cox, our defensive line coach. TJ Fine, our linebackers coach, who couldn't be here tonight. Ian Nichols, our corners coach. Jeff White, our safeties and special teams. Josh Barnes, our running backs. Nick Foster, quarterbacks coach. Terrell Johnson, offensive line. Zach McFall, wide receiver. Mike Strack, tight ends. Brad Scott, head freshman coach. Kurt Mangle, assistant freshman coach. Matt Best, assistant freshman coach. And Dustin Esler, assistant freshman thank you guys very much for what you do for this program. We're going to kind of recap the season here. You know, when you think about this time last year, there's a lot of unknowns. It was kind of a nervous time, scary time for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, not just football. You know, one thing that we met with these kids, I think it was about right now. We met with them on Zoom. We told them, we said, you know, we still are going to have goals. We are going to have a season. And we're going to have high goals, high expectations, just as we always do. And I said, it's going to look different. We're going to meet virtually. We're going to work out virtually. You guys are going to post your workouts. You're going to hold each other accountable and hold yourselves accountable to make sure we're doing the right things. But the biggest thing I stressed to them is I said, we want to be the best in the state of Kansas in whatever we have to do to have a season. And they bought into that and did that. And I can't say enough about the character of these young men and what they did in the offseason last year. And, you know, just the posts that we got, the workout videos, it was something. I mean, it's something I wish I could save all those and go back and look at them. And someday, 10 years down the road, they come back for their 10-year reunion. I would love it, just show them that, you know, and because it was tremendous. I don't think they realized what they did for us coaches and our sanity during that time. And it was just it was a huge blessing for all of us, really. And it really kind of drew us closer as a team, as position groups, and it was just something special to see. But we always have that goal in mind that, hey, we're going to have a season, we're going to be the best at what we do, and once that season hits, then you know, it'll be as normal as we can make it. And you know, obviously we didn't have a boot camp this summer like we normally do. We didn't have our normal weights up until a little bit later. You know, those types of things are a big part of our program, and these kids understand that. But in the end, they kept their minds in that mindset of a boot camp every single day, understanding that if they needed to give their best effort, because it could be taken away at any point in time. And the way they did that was just tremendous. Obviously, once the season hit, it was a completely different schedule than what we expected. But it was a schedule that I think these kids were very fired up about. Getting to play some of the teams we got to play. And they stepped up to the challenge every single time. And us as coaches, just amazed every single week. We walk off the practice field and we're like, that was a heck of a practice. And then the next day it was just even better. And the next day even better. It was just a real joy to coach. A lot of fun, and again, brought a lot of normalcy to what was just a different year. But they didn't look at it that way, never did, and never accepted that, and they pushed forward all the time. These seniors, man, can't say enough about you guys. Your leadership skills, your character, your work ethic, the mentality of, this could be taken away from us, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the things that we can control. It's going to go a long ways with what you want to do in life, and that's the way you should look at life all the time. Because nothing's guaranteed, ever. And I think these guys truly understand that, and that's what's going to help them as they move forward. So, that being said, we're going to go ahead and introduce by class and by the managers as well, and then also we're going to introduce each class here and talk about each class in each season as well too. So, first person up is Coach Cox. Come on up.
I had the managers this year, and we had a small group, but by far the best group that we've had. These guys put in a ton of time, and whenever we asked them to do something, they would do it. So they're all sitting right over here. We have Kate Hendricks, Kate Helm, and go ahead, come on up, guys. Come on.
Hey, fellas, as we hand out these letters, we'll just do the letters because of the end.
All right, first up, we have our long senior, Brady Gabbard. home. And first, I got to give a shout out to our lone senior. He was our do-it-all guy. He could do everything from film to water to whatever we needed him to do. And he was here every day and has been for the last 4 years. So he's been an awesome part of this team and helped us out a lot. And the ladies, they were all new this year, but did a great job stepping up. Kate with film, and then Kate Hendricks and Ellen Springer with the water. So appreciate all the hard work that you guys put in. I know it's not easy to show up every day. You don't get paid to do this job, but we all appreciate everything you do for this team. So thank you.
The thing that I'll add about this group is they're a very hardworking group. Very dedicated, and we talk a lot about in this program a lot about servant leadership, and those four are the true definition of servant leadership, and the way that they would help these set up practices, get water ready. It was obviously a different year with water as well. They did a tremendous job, never complained, always asked what they could do to help. So thank you very much, ladies, and great. Thank you. Okay, Coach Scott's going to come up and talk about freshmen. As he calls you guys up, come up this way and just walk across, okay, as he comes across, and we'll hand you guys your letters. And there, he's going to talk a little bit about the season as well.
All right, well, before I do that, this senior class is pretty special to me. For those of you that don't know, I get to sit up in the press box on Friday nights, and I've got the best seat in the house. And I get to see things like Cole throwing up on the field at State on the big screen. I get to see things like Ty Rice's catch for a touchdown. You know, I get to see kids like Timmy and Tommy and Dalton and Saxton who waited their turn when they were seniors and stepped on and made great plays for us. And there's a lot of you did all these things. All right. But what some of you don't remember, or maybe you do, is like when Quinn Winhour played right guard. Remember those days? Quinn, remember those days? Yeah. I remember when Cole Napton intercepted the ball against Baser in 8th grade. It took him about 12 seconds to run 30 yards to the end zone. They made it. It was great to watch. I remember Ty Hartwick picking up a muffed kick and running in for a touchdown, which is every lineman's dream. And then when he came over, I had to be the one to tell him you can't advance a muffed kick, Ty, that didn't count. Those are the things that I remember. And this class, I got to coach some of them since they were in 3rd grade, all the way up through. And then I got a lot of you in middle school in 7th grade. And then I got almost all of you in 9th grade when we started splitting off the freshman program a little bit. And it has been a joy to watch you grow. To be able to sit in that seat and watch the things and see the things that you've done and the ways that you've improved and the things that you've done for this school and this community and your families. It's just been a joy to watch. And I want to thank you that I got to be a very small part of that, boys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Having said that, our freshman year, we had a fantastic season by pretty much any way you can measure it. First of all, we got to have one. The boys did a great job following the protocols, doing what they're supposed to do, and it allowed us to have a season. We didn't have to sit out, we didn't have to miss any games. It was great with that regard. Very talented group. I've been telling a lot of people, I think top to bottom might be even more talented than our senior class. It remains to see what they're going to do with that talent, but a very, very talented group. When you're 4 points from being undefeated on the season, and you had people like Aquinas and Rockers and MEH to your schedule, you're beating some of the best teams in the state because a lot of those freshman teams are handpicked. And we just had a fantastic season. And the one thing I do remember where I think our season turned was we're playing Bishop Miege, and we went over there, and it's a tough place to play, and it was hot, and we were just getting thumped. And I remember Coach Best, you remember it was bad at halftime. I think we were down 3 scores, maybe 4. And we went out in the second half and threw a pick on our first play of the second half. And the boys turned around and just buried them from that moment on. And it wasn't even close. And it was so fun to watch because I think that didn't end up only the second time we've ever beaten Miege. This year was the first time we ever beat Aquinas in freshman in the snow under the lights on a Friday night, which was a great experience for the boys to get to play not only under the lights on a Friday night but in the snow and to make the Aquinas kids stand over there for 2 hours before the game starts because they get out of the locker room and let them get really cold before we play. That was fun too. So I enjoyed that part of it. But like I said, I think it was a fantastic season. One of the worst labels you can get as an athlete is what potential. And because you haven't reached that yet, I think this group has got amazing potential. Like I said, it remains to be seen what they're going to do with that. By all means that we've seen, we think they're going to be hard workers. They're going to continue the traditions. They plugged themselves right into the program now as sophomores since Christmas break. They're doing a great job in the weight room, and we're really proud of you guys, and we're waiting to see what you're going to do next. All right, so as I call your names, if you guys can come on up, walk across the stage, get your stuff. Hayden Appleby. Tristan Baker. Daniel Blaine. Josh Brenninger. Walker Brown. Nate Carter. Connor Clifton. Austin Klein. Sam Coletti. Brody Connor. Kobe Cook. Garrett Crowley. Ryan Devil. Jake Fisher. Preston Fisher. Jack Vulture. Gage Graham. Lincoln Gray. Reed Greer. Truman Griffith. Davion Harris. Joe Holton. Jackson Horn. Gavin Johnson. Mason Kemp. Kevin Laughlin. Jackson Lawler. Carl McAllister. Adam McClendon. Julie Meneses. Seth Myers. Walt Medea. Aiden Morton. Jacob Morton. Blake Nice. Max Rowe. Waylon Shake. Cooper Schreiber. Jaden Scobie. Evan Seifert. Drew Snyder. Sully Suderman. Brian Wilson. This is your 2020 freshman class.
As you can see, it's a large group. And as Coach said, have a lot of potential. One thing I appreciate about this group, I think we had 51 to start the season, and we had 51 to end the season. Obviously, all of them aren't here tonight, but that was, in the year that we had, it was tremendous in that itself. It says a lot about our coaching staff, says a lot about these kids, and the willingness to buy into a team concept. So, and as Coach said, a lot of potential. And what we've seen so far, they've started to unlock that potential, and we're excited about the future of this group. So, thank you. All right, up next, talk about a little bit about the JV team and the sophomore class is Coach Mike.
Well, it wouldn't be 2020 if we didn't make a huge mistake. Logan Holder, come up here.
All right, here we go. Good evening. I'm here to talk about the JV team and sophomores as well. What I will say about the sophomores before I begin to talk about the JV season is that sophomore season, and in all honesty, sophomore year can be one of the hardest years ever. So if you can make it through your sophomore year in this program, the sky's the limit, all right? Because sometimes you got the older guys who are just being mean, bullies, beating you up as you try to give looks. It's not an easy feat. Sometimes you have friends who have more success than you, and you wondering why is he getting that shot and not out. So like I said, mentally and physically can be one of the toughest years. So I always tip my hat to sophomores, man. It shows your love, honestly, if you can go through, like I said, our program as a sophomore, it shows your love for the game. So hats off to all sophomores. Freshmen, you'll learn quick, right? Other than that, kind of like Coach Scott was saying, he feels he has the best seat in the house on Fridays. Being the JV head coach the last few years, I feel like I have the best position in the program because we take the potential that the freshmen have blended in with the sophomores who are turning to be juniors, and then we're getting them primed and ready for their Friday night debuts, whenever that may be. And I will say, trying to go back, well, let me say this first, and this echo Coach Appleby. In 2020, it wasn't easy to do anything. It definitely wasn't easy to be a state championship team, and it wasn't easy being a JV guy. We all know JV guys, we don't get the most love, we don't get the most attention, because we're giving looks 80% of practice. We're giving looks, so we don't always get that attention. We're last in line when it comes to the equipment, the nice stuff that you kind of grow into as a senior, all right? So like I said, not easy. With that being said, I went to go look at our website to check on the scores, kind of reflect on the season. No scores were there. Only the updated schedule. Updated schedule is looking pretty sweet. Hopefully we go undefeated. But no games, so I'm like, I started to recollect, ask Coach T, ask Coach Bourne what their thoughts on the season were. And all we could do was remember the losses. All right, we had 2 losses to Olathe West, the same team, all under 4 points. All right. The reason I want to bring up the loss is because at that level, wins and losses don't matter. All right, it's all about, like I said, shaping you to become the best varsity player you can become. And over the course of our JV season, we had teammates bickering. All right, we had fights against other teams. We had coaches showing some real tough love. We had some players who had the courage enough to try to give us some words. But with all that said, in all seriousness, all my guys, my seniors who were on JV that year that we lost that one game, stand up for me. All right, I want y'all to look around, look at that. They cannot be the leaders they are to you in this team if it wasn't for those trials and tribulations that we went through as a JV. They learned how to compete in tight games. They learned how to, you guys can sit down. They learned how to lead their peers. They learned how to count on their peers when things got hard. So with all that being said, we had a great season, only lost 2 games, kicked a lot of butt, really should be the Olathe West, man. And to this day, like I said, those are only 2 games I can think about because they hurt the most, because we all like to win. But remember the lessons. Remember to lean on each other. Remember to always play fast, all right, fight through adversity. Remember all those pillars as our program, and you guys can keep that bar right here and never take it deep down, all right? So very proud of you guys. Before I walk, I want to say thanks to Coach T and Coach Barnes, because if it wasn't for them guys, we couldn't have had a successful season. Like I said, they're in on Mondays to 10 o'clock, pouring love into these kids. And it's an awesome thing. So thank you guys for being there with me. Thank you guys for letting me coach you guys the last couple of years as well. Appreciate you all. All right, let me read through the sophomores' names. You can come on up. Mark Bauer, Mikey Bergeron, Noah Toy, Jameson Fisher, Keegan Grayson, Baruch, Peyton Hunt, Hudson Ivy, Hayden J, Foster Johannes, Lance Lee, C.D. Lockhart, Zach Lorian, Tyler Marsh, Bryce Martin, Billy Madison, Jack McKinnon, Jack Melvin, Tate Nicola, Preston Oliver, Grant Murkowski, Will Smoots, Spencer Vaca, Cody Warmke, Matt Wise, Jesse Woods, Brock Wooster, Simon Wonder, and Holy Tigger.
Okay, the thing I want to add about this group too, the sophomore group specifically, you know, as Coach said, which you guys step this way just a little bit. You good. As Coach said, this is so true. I see it, I've seen it, for 20 years of coaching now, 21 years of coaching now. The sophomore year is the toughest year mentally in any year that you can ever imagine as an athlete in any sport. Because as Coach said, there are some kids here that practiced all week long as a starter and didn't play on Fridays. There are some kids here that saw a lot of success on Fridays. Some that didn't necessarily see it because we're not developed the same quite yet. You see the biggest development jump from your freshman year to your junior year. And we see it mentally, we see it physically, and it's just all in different stages for each different individual that's up here. But what's great about this group is they have a great leadership quality about them. Is that when they do step on that field to practice, whether it's a scout team player, whether it's as a starter, but not necessarily a starter, because somebody may be injured during that time, a senior or whatever, or maybe as a backup scout team player. They always step on the field to do their very best in that moment. And that's one thing that it was very clear with this entire group of sophomores. They were a huge part of why these seniors and juniors had a lot of success on Fridays. So I want to thank them. Understand and they all understand it's getting close to their time. Some of these guys are going to be big contributors on Fridays. Some of them may still be a scout team player. Some of them, may be a part-time player. Some of them may be a special teams player. But they all buy into that role, and that's one thing that, again, this group has a lot going for them, a lot of potential again, and that they've already shown already for a year and a half to almost 2 years that they are ready to and willing to unlock that potential as they grow. So thank you very much, guys. the other thing I'll add is, I don't know, bully's kind of a hard word for Coach White. Coach White. Never mind, didn't hear but you know, I do think that these guys understand that as a scout team player, it's a different mentality. You got to give your best look, and a lot of these guys do a tremendous job. So. All right, Coach Hunt, let's come on up. We're going to talk about the junior class just a little bit. And
All right, so basically, what Coach Appleby just said, going forward after your sophomore year is very descriptive of this year's junior class. I mean, you have guys that started every game. You have guys that were scout team guys that played on JV and fought through those battles that Coach White was just describing a few moments ago. I think the one thing that's indicative of every guy on this list, no matter if they were a starter or a scout team player, is that growth that was just described, talking about the sophomores. I think they're continuing that growth in an upward trajectory right now in 0 hour. It's very evident. The attitude that they're bringing, they're continuing their growth. I mean, there are a lot of guys on here that I know defensively, and I'm sure on the other side of the ball as well, that were talked about in postseason exit meetings that had things they needed to work on. And they did that. They did just that last year. You know, whether it be a scouting report or practice effort or weight room effort, I saw a lot of growth in this group. And you know, it's maybe a smaller group than the freshman and sophomore class we just saw, but it's a group that has really bought in. I think that's a really important step from that freshman, sophomore, junior year, is that you're buying in to all the stuff we're talking about in terms of culture, program, because especially you can see, you know, a group like that group in front of you guys, the success that can come from that. And it's not easy being behind a class like that, like this group of seniors. It's a special class, but I really applaud you guys for how hard you worked. You know, like I said, some of you guys in their shadow, or some of you guys as their practice dummies, but overall, it was a successful year, all right, because every single person in here was responsible for the success that we had as a team, whether you're a starter or a scout team player. And so I think that's the best way to describe this junior class overall. So same thing, as I call your name, you guys come up, come across, grab your certificate, shake coach's hand. John Anderson. Blake Boatwright. Ken Douglas. Dave Federer. Ryan Fulcher. Dylan Jackson. Aiden Jacobs. Kendrick Jones. Reese Kennedy. James Marlowe. Cody Moore. Jared Napoli. Javon Neal. Cole Sy. Aiden Schaefer. Jason Smith. August Snidely. Chris Whaley. Jay Barr.
Okay, and we're excited about this group and the things that they've been doing since the offseason started. The work ethic they have, the work they put in. You know, one thing that we've seen in this program, some of the best leaders, some of the best players weren't starters until their senior year that we've had come through this program. And you know, some of these guys have been starters, some of them haven't. And we see a lot of these guys stepping up already to accept that role and play that role and just be the best team that they possibly can be. And so we're very, very excited about this group to leading this team in this program. They understand the expectation. They understand you know, what the level of play needs to be, and they're willing to meet and match that. So we're excited. Good group of kids. So thank you very much, guys. we do the seniors, we're gonna do the seniors by position group. Each coach is gonna come up here and talk a little bit about each senior. And then as they come up, you guys just come up on stage as a position, you call it position group out, just come up on stage up here. We'll get you guys your letters and everything else eventually. But we're gonna start out tonight with our wide receivers and tight ends. Coach Stratt, Coach Paul, come on up.
I'll talk about tight ends first. We have one senior, Jacob Casper. I don't think he's able to make it tonight. I think what I'm going to say, you're probably going to hear repeated a lot about the senior class. Extremely impressive group. Jacob fell right into that, very reliable. This year was very unique. I think our individual position groups really we had to lean on each other, especially offensively. We did a lot of our work in position groups, different than previous years. So we met as tight ends, quarterbacks would meet, running backs would meet. So our position groups really had to help each other out, provide support. I think help them sort of create their own identity within their position groups. Jacob was a big part of our tight end group in the film room, obviously on the practice field. I think for me as a coach, been doing this for a bit now. It's often sort of the smaller things we remember. One thing I always remember with Jacob, he got quarantined, I think our second and third week of the playoffs this year. I don't believe he was up there for DeSoto or Aquinas, and I can't imagine how special our season is going to have to sit through that. And one of the best memories I'll have is being able to give Jacob Casper a hug on the field after state title game. I hope he remembers that. I know as a coach, it's a moment I'll treasure because he had earned that moment. Even though he was playing behind a couple of really, really good football players, maybe didn't get the game reps that he wanted. He never changed his attitude. He was reliable, worked hard, played an important role. A couple of these coaches mentioned with our sophomore and junior classes, our scout team roles. Jacob served in that role as well. So I was just really, really happy beyond winning the state title. If he got to experience that, and as his coach, he got to share that one small moment on the field. So I thank Jacob. I thank all the tight ends, but especially thank Jacob for the great season.
Before you start, I have my four seniors come up, and then I'll kind of talk to you guys a little bit. As they're coming up, I do want to give thanks to the senior class. You guys were a blast to watch. I wish I could tell stories about all you guys and not just my four, but it was an honor getting to watch you guys kind of do your thing from the best seat in the house. And then also, talk a lot about how these kids work right here. Anyone that plays DB, I got to give a thanks to you guys. Especially the sophomore class, Massey, Zig, Burge, Bauer, you guys battle with us every day, and that's not just those sophomores. B-Fit, everybody that was out there. Blake, I appreciate everything you did for us. Pringle, we got the best of most days, I will say that. But you guys gave us great work, and these four went to battle with you guys every day, so I appreciate that. You're a big part of their kind of growth and success. So I'll start with Lake. Lake was a tremendous just guy in our room for us. He played in different roles, played some special teams, played some scout team at times, and then came in and gave us some reps on the field when we needed it. He wasn't necessarily a starter and didn't have that role, but what I love about Lake was his attitude and his mentality did not change. That dude attacked every rep at practice, and he got better in the film room. And I could ask him a question when he was locked in. Knowing that he might not get the ball on Friday, get to do exactly what he do, did not change how he attacked the day. And those things are huge. And you can take that no matter what role you're in. When you're able to work like that, good things will happen. And Lake got some opportunities in the year to jump in, and he was always ready. And huge thing is it's not about the opportunities you get all the time, but what do you do with the opportunity you do get? I think it's a couple of coaches will talk about that later tonight, but he took advantage of those opportunities every time. And I appreciate that about Lake. He was a positive role model. He was a leader. And we'll miss Lake a lot, so I appreciate it. Okay, Hunter. I think Hunter's probably one of the toughest kids I'll ever coach for a number of reasons. The first thing I look back, kind of him more than junior year, we don't know really much about these kids and kind of what they're going to be like. We go to KU camp, and he went head to head with, I believe his name was Malik Berry, who was, if you guys have heard of him, he was at Free State. He was probably 3 times the size of Hunter. Quinn was our quarterback, so he knew we weren't throwing the ball. Scoop was out. And Malik Berry was coming downhill to take people's heads off every single play. And Hunter was in the slot and went toe-to-toe with that guy every single play. And from that point on, I knew he was going to be fine. Everything else was going to take care of itself. When you just battle every single play, I don't have to worry about much because I know you're going to show up and I know what you're going to give me. Also, talking about a kid that lost 2 seasons, and this is what I talk about. That takes a lot. Sorry. To see you come out of that means the world. And I gotta stop talking about it because it's gonna make me cry. I love you to death, man, and you're tough as hell, and I appreciate everything you do. Okay, Ty Righteous, that's Big Play Ty. Every time I Big Play Ty. Ty's one of the hardest working kids, and he says nothing, literally nothing. But you can respect that because it didn't matter if he was making plays, if he wasn't making plays. His speed never changed, his work ethic never changed. Every time I come to the school, he's playing football. I mean, literally, whether like 2 days after the state championship game, he's on the field playing football. The dude just loves the game, and that goes a long ways. Whether he's up here running routes, I think there was one time Cuddy or Saxon was throwing the ball for my quarterback. If you got dedication to come out here and let them throw to you, that means a lot. Because I know you're not getting that much work because they probably can't throw the ball very far. But that was where Ty's mindset was at. He was going to get after the weight room, and he was going to get up here, he was going to run, he was going to catch the ball, he was going to do everything I asked him. He did it. No matter what outlook on his playing time or whatever it was, that dude want to get better. And that'll take him a long ways in life. And when I call him Big Play Ty, I look back at huge back shoulder fade in state championship game 2 years ago against Northwest. Huge catch. The game before that against Aquinas, he catches an under route and takes it 20 yards. Got his head taken off, but we get an extra 15 for it, so we're good with that, right? And then in the state championship game, on 3rd and 27, back to the end zone, and we basically singled up Ty and just said, "Go win for us, please." And Coop goes a pretty ball over the top. Ty goes 91 yards for a touchdown. And in all reality, we probably should have been punting, But Ty said, "I'll get my number called. I'm going to go make a good play." So, those are the 2 things I'm going to remember about Ty. It's his work ethic. And then again, when his number was called and we needed to play, somehow we always find a way to go run football down. So, give it up for Mike. Lastly, Jacob Hartman. I'm going to start off by saying the Hartman you see now and what you saw on the field this past season is not the Hartman that I got. When he was a freshman. I remember talking to his dad, I think right after his freshman year, his dad goes, "What position is he going to play?" And I go, "I don't really know, but he's playing receiver because he's a Hartman, so I want to coach him, and we're going to figure something out." He was a short, tubby little kid. All I knew is he could shoot the 3. That's it. He was a decent basketball player, he could shoot, but that was it. I didn't know much about football. I remember watching him in a sophomore game. Rare, just sophomore year, I think it was Blue Valley, and he ran some routes and caught the ball and made some plays. And in the back of my head, I said, I think he's got a chance. Going into his junior year, we go down to KU camp, we do all those things, and you just see that work ethic, and he works his tail off, and you just kind of see him start to develop into the player he is now. So it's easy to see, like you freshmen probably look at him and think, oh, he's a hell of a player. There's no doubt. But that's not what it always was. He worked for that. Okay, he's nothing special. He knows that. Okay, and that's not. He earned everything he got, and that's what what I appreciate most about it, and what I'll look back on is everything that happened up until Friday nights. And that's kind of who Jacob is to me. I could talk about big play after big play. The one that sticks out the most is when Coop goes down. I think it's Gardner, or we play Gardner, I guess, the next week. I told Hartman, I said, man, you're probably not going to get the ball a lot. I said, when you touch the ball, you better not get tackled. You better make the play. And he literally did that. He caught hits, he took it 82 yards, broke like 6 tackles or something crazy. In 30 years, we used to tell people it was like 11 tackles or something. So that would be cooler. But his mentality was just different. The way he attacked the game, the way he just worked day in and day out. A quiet kid, a quiet group. And I think the thing I like the most about him is just how they put their heads down collectively. So I'm going to miss the heck out of you guys. I love every one of you. I wish I had one more year. So give it up one more time. I think, the 2 words that you heard the most there is work ethic, and that's the thing that I remember the most about these words. Is when you're a receiver in our program, you run miles, literally miles in practice. And these guys never complain, always played as fast as they possibly could, and that's why they had the success they had on Friday nights and being a big part of this team. So thank you guys very, very much. Okay, up next, Coach Hudgens is going to fill in for Coach Feiner for the linebackers.
All right, look at those senior linebackers up here. All right, these 3 guys here, I think anybody that watches this year knows we got a pretty good defense. And this is a position that always gets a lot of that praise, is that second level of those linebackers. This group here, I'll talk about each of them individually. I'll start with Drew. Drew's a guy who I had, as a freshman, we all talked about as a freshman, I had him in freshman PE. And his athleticism, I just couldn't talk enough about it. I was so excited to see where he ended up fitting into our program. Hope to get him on defense, obviously, and seeing him grow into the role that he had this year as a linebacker was a lot of fun. I know he had fun. That's one thing I'll remember about Drew is that smile on Friday nights. I remember that first Friday night at Derby, or with Derby here, and then especially the DeSoto game. Our guys always get fired up from that DeSoto game, but seeing him smile on the sidelines and seeing him have fun and run around with his boys was a great memory for sure. Really proud of the way, Drew, that you came back out this year and you bought into everything. It's like you didn't miss a step. You came back and you knew there was going to be work to be caught up on, but you bought into everything we were doing. Everybody put their arms around you as a result. We had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate that work ethic and everything you brought, not just from the beginning of the year, but your growth through the end of the year. And I'll never forget reading through your last 2 scouting reports and just seeing how much you have grown over the course of the year. That's really what it's all about for us. So really appreciate you, Drew, and really happy you came back out this year. Next up, Colton Jagan. Colton, a heck of a player, there's absolutely no doubt. I think, likewise, anybody that paid attention to us this year saw number 10 making a lot of plays. It's some pretty unbelievable plays at that. And those are going to be plays that we watch as coaches, and they're on the technique playlist that we show younger guys for years to come. Colton, maybe a little bit rockier start with you and I, through freshman, sophomore year. But that being said, I think sometimes when those things happen, it makes the end even more special. And I cannot say how much I appreciate our relationship in the end, like I do. I mean, it means a whole lot to me. The fact that you stuck with the defense and you continue to work your butt off through that sophomore year into your summer to your junior year, just continue to grow, continue to trust and be coachable. And like I said, the end product, man, it's a really special deal. If you haven't watched Colton's senior highlight tape, give that a watch because that's pretty special. And I think a lot of our guys on this team were slept on in postseason awards and different things like that. And I think Colton's definitely one of those guys because I'll say for sure the best linebacker in the state and probably in the area. I think Colton, you're going to go on and do some really special things at Pitt State, and really look forward to watching you. Dalton Harvey. Dalton is my guy, man. I love Dalton to death. He's been a lot of fun to coach. He's someone who right away, like a lot of these seniors, you see as freshmen, and kind of same thing I was saying with Drew, you start to kind of project what they might look like as seniors, and what that might look like when they're all said, when it's all said and done. I think Dalton probably exceeded a lot of people's expectations. I think he embodies what this program is all about, and that's because from day one, since he got here, he bought into everything that was talked about. He's a 100% guy. I think he maybe missed 1 0 hour ever. Is that correct? One that I can ever remember, okay? He's there every single day. And what I love is what we talk about. Coach Appleby talks about. These guys have probably seen the slide 300 times. A great attitude, great effort, great work ethic. He brings that every single day. And he's got an infectious personality. No matter how practice went, every day at the end of that win period, I walk over there and he's got a smile on his face. He's making fun of these other two guys. And they're talking about what they're going to eat at linebacker dinner that night. So I really appreciate everything that Dalton did. We've had plenty of private conversations about that. But, like I said, Dalton, really enjoyed getting to coach you. And really proud of everything you accomplished here.
The one thing that I really appreciate about this group the most is the energy they brought every single day. Every day. Didn't matter what was going on. They always played at a high level with a positive attitude. And like Coach said, they really bought into the attitude, effort, and focus. And they brought it every single day. And so again, I'm very proud of this group. Fun group to be around. Like Coach said, just always smiling, always having fun, and enjoy the game and love the game of football. So thank you guys very much. All right, up next, you want to know when Coach Johnson will be around.
I want to start off by saying it's a blessing to be here. I told them all this. I don't know the COVID and stuff like that. We're lucky to have a season. We're blessed to have a season. So the fact that the way it did, it's a positive. So I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for coaching the ball again. I say this every year. When I got done playing football, he told me there's a coaching spot open out here. So I hit him up and I'm here now, and I'm blessed to be here. Thank you, Coach Huckabee. Next, Coach Bangle. He got the head basketball spot this year, but even though he had a lot on his plate, he still helped out when I needed help. Film this spring, going through plays and stuff like that. If I missed something, he was always right there. And then during the season, so shout out to Coach, man, appreciate you. The senior moms, theirs was amazing. And when I say that, the food was always good, don't get me wrong. But actually spending time with all the kids and getting to learn different things about them, I think that means a lot. I think some of them like to cook, some like to paint, some have a few girlfriends. So getting to know them, I think that was a big reason for our success this year. Just coming more ties to family, so I want to thank you guys today. You guys are a lot of work, and I appreciate you. They had a great year. I think we ran for 2,504 yards and passed for 1,800. And we missed the game. So the way they attacked every day, I want to say it wasn't easy, but they came with their hats on and they came ready to play. I don't want to say I killed them, but just like everybody's been saying, the work ethic, it's not easy, especially playing online. I take part in my name, trench mob, because we're in the trenches every play. And for them to keep coming every day and keep showing up, I really respect them for that, because I tell them all the time. They're better than me when I was in high school. Talent-wise, no, but mentally, though, for real, I couldn't take the coaching for myself if I was in their shoes. So, shout out to them for that. That's a big step. Cuddy, it's one of our brothers who had some injuries. He was sick a few times, but like everybody was saying, I know you didn't do direction one, but you showed up every day. You had a great attitude. You touched it on your brother's arm, and just the way you fought, you gave good looks over here. Rob, he didn't have you, and you got to do Scott team and stuff like that. So you wanted them to be successful because those are your brothers, And like everybody said, that's tough to do when you're not getting reps you want. But so you came happy, you was positive. You wasn't trying to get your record, so I'm not mad at you for that, But like I said, the attitude you had, and you kept the platform on you better. I appreciate you because it's my heart from the side. Penny, thank you also. When I was playing football, they said I was too short to play football, and I'm taller than Penny. So I know how tough that is. We do it all the time. But the way we battled this year and competed is outstanding. I just, like Coach Craig said about Casper, at the end of the state championship game, just seeing the smile on Kenny's face, and it made me so happy because like he did something special. Everybody knows Monday through Thursday was not the best, but Friday he showed up and it looked damn good out there. I told him, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Free State week. You probably could have grabbed the Heisman, because line did a great job, and you guys, the whole team, the whole line got it. So thank you for never quitting. You never gave up. You showed up every day. You took the beat I was giving out, and you took the challenge on Fridays. So thank you. I'm proud of you. Sad Strip. Great leader. I put him on his plate this year. First, he did out of this group, he did the best summer workouts. He came back, probably gained 15 pounds. Maybe if that did not give him too much, but he looked really good when he came back from workouts, from virtual workouts. And that just shows me how serious he was. He knew he knew this position was going to be his job. And I think he watched how Mason was last year. I even told him the way Mason played, he was grimy, he was gritty, he played tough. That's how you got to play the other sides. Even when you're a leader of the unit. The center, he goes to the line, he makes the calls, points out where everybody's going, and he's the first communication key. So the longest play, we accepted the challenge. And one thing about him, like I said, I see myself in every single one of y'all, but the one thing, Saxon, you would get pissed off when I would say something that was trying to correct you, but you had a question, and I love that about you because you want to know what it was that you get better on, and we respect you both for yourself also. I love you for that. Like I said, I put a lot on his plate. He came to battle. Funny story. We get done with film after practice. Saxon goes outside, he runs to the bathroom. I'm like, all right. And 3 minutes later, he's like, coach, I'm in the bathroom quick. I'm like, damn, Saxon. All right, hurry up. So we're doing individual drills, and literally, not even 5 minutes has passed. Hey, coach, go to the bathroom. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, all right, go ahead. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, you probably been growing up or something. And Coach Ellie comes down. He's like, what's Saxon? I was like, was it the bathroom? I'm like 3 times. Like, I don't know if you got a key, I don't know what it is. So he come back down and says, you going up? Yes, sir. Because he knew if he was sick or any type of sick, he'd miss a day or something like that. But he said he had some cheese sandwich or whatever he had. I don't know, it was a terrible lunch meal, but that just showed how much he wanted to be there, you know. The last one I want to say about Saxon, it was during camp, and he went down. He thought he broke his leg, so it was very intense at the time. He went to got his X-rays and stuff like that, and we had a scrimmage Saturday. We showed up Saturday limping. Sorry, coach, I'm ready. And I just laughed, like, that's the toughness we need. I was like, Saxon, you know you're not playing today. But I thank you for showing up and coming ready to play the other show, the type of teammates you were, and how much you cared about your boys. So I thank you for that, Saxon. Eduardo, Samuel. Like Big Paul said about one of the toughest kids to coach, Sam was a great task for me because he's very, very good, but he does not talk. And for this line to be successful, Sam's got to be a leader. Whether he wants to yell and scream or just say good job, he's going to have to talk to his brothers. And watching him do that over time, it was amazing. When I got here, 2018, the second game, I think, him and Robbie were the 2 sophomores starting at this time. And it feels like I watched them grow up. You know, it's been a quick 2.5 years, 3 years. It feels like it's been forever, but raise your hand if you've seen the movie Blindside. Y'all remember the part when they was playing the Reds and the Leon was talking crazy the whole game, and then Michael Ward takes him over the fence over at the back of the end zone. He said something about Coach, I have to get him out of here. Sam would do that any game. I said, Sam, go out there, bring that game to me. And he would bring it to the side every time. Didn't do it. I wasn't even watching Sam. I'm watching the play go for how many yards it was, and out of nowhere, I see Sam taking his body like that to the side. I'm losing, like, that's what I'm talking about, Sam. So, just watching him grow, man, he literally does everything you say. And like I said, he doesn't talk, so when he would do something, I was looking at him, he'd be a little smirk like, yeah, because I got you. And I'm just like, that's why I love him right there, you know. But like I said, he became a leader. He didn't say much, but he stuck around in tough days. He had a bad back, bad ankle, whatever, girlfriend, all that. But now, like I said, watching Sam grow, man, and be that leader we needed, it was great. I love you. Like I said, honestly, he's one of the best high school kids I've ever seen. It's not been that much, but right, hands down, he's the best tackle in the state right now. Thank you, sir. It's been a blessing, it's been an honor. I'm proud to be here. My boy, Rodney. Rodney probably had the worst summer at the group. He threw up probably every day, so that was tough. But once again, like I said, from his sophomore year, he's a trooper. He got hurt, so he hurt short his sophomore year. Bounced back, had a good junior year, was rotating me out. And then the senior year, I remember talking to his mom and dad about working out and stuff before COVID hit. But he said he would be track. And did a long talk, and he was ready. He was ready to get work in. I think we probably talked Robbie earlier. He's going to play right tackle this year. And I think it was maybe a few weeks in, maybe a month in, I ran to his mom, maybe like a crack or something like that. Excuse me. And she was like, hey, Robbie seems a little down right now. I don't know if he wants to play football after this. And just talk about the future. And it kind of hurt me. I'm like, I hope I'm not the reason he doesn't want to play anymore. And I remember talking to him after practice, like, hey man, what's going on? He looked at me and said, Coach, I ain't gonna quit. And from that day on, Robbie was the best leader I've seen in a long time. And that's including the guys I've been with and in the last years I've been here. Robbie played every position for me. Left tackle, center, left guard, right guard, right. It didn't matter. If we needed somebody to go in, Robbie would do it. And I remember it was right before school started, we broke down as a team. And I walked away, I said, all right, everybody get a break. And Robbie stopped me. He said, all right, guys, school's starting tomorrow or something like that. Let's make sure we keep our grades up. And he said that it clicked that Robbie, he has it. And I want to thank you because they, where your brothers didn't understand, you would be the one to explain it to them. And this is an everyday life. I can tell you something 100 times, but it is correct. You might not want to hear from you every time. So the fact that you can relate with the message I was giving out and then get them on the same page with you, it showed a lot of heart, toughness, mental capacity. I know how bad you want to play left guard, play right guard. I know how bad you want to do things the way you want it this year. But you played out of position and did a hell of a job with it. I'm proud of you. I thank you. This O-line truly goes nowhere without Robbie Durden. So thank you. I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. We had a hell of a year. You got to call me double C from now on. All right? Thank you. There's one more on this video. Man. Kramer, he wasn't practicing all the time, but he definitely played online. And like Big Paul said, he's different. His mindset is crazy. After a defensive series, he would go to Coach Cox, and he'd write up offense. After every position you score, you come off. Kirby, you good, you do what you need. I'm good, Coach. I'm like, all right, my fault, all right. But just, you tell him to do it, he'll do it. The power he has, the explosiveness is crazy. I haven't seen a D lineman do what you do yet and come and do on the same side of the ball, other side of the ball on offense. Thank you, because like I said, you had the same determination to do what you did on defense to do it on offense. In practice, a lot of people bring up practice. You would kick our butts on offense, then go around and do it to your buddies on defense. So thank you. You helped us out whole year. Even though you won't win us, you still with to teach guys. You're smart as hell. So I appreciate you, Kramer. You're a tough kid. And like I said, I'm just glad I got to coach these guys, man. I'm blessed that y'all made my job this fun and this easy. We had some tough days, but it was a blast, and I thank y'all. And that's your line right there.
All right, the only thing I'll add about this group is, like Coach said, they're a quiet group. Man, they're a quiet group. I get the honor of being in almost every one of their meetings, with them in practice a lot as well. And they are a quiet group. And especially when Robbie's not there, they're even more quiet. You ask a question, dead silence. But that being said, leadership they showed, the progress they made throughout the year was just unbelievable. It really was. From where we started and where we ended, it shows a lot about their preparation, their willingness to practice every day, do the little things to make themselves better. So thank you guys very much. Hey, up next is the safeties. Good point.
All right, as they're coming up, thank you, Nick Falls, for crying first. Because now I don't feel as bad. As almost everybody in this room probably knows at this point, I won't be here. So it's been a lot of tears shed. So I'm gonna try my best not to shed any tears right now. Seriously, cry way too much. All right, so two things before I get going on these guys. To be a safety underneath the last 10 years, you have to be special. You have to be a perfectionist, all right? Because that whole mantra, aim for the moon, fall amongst the stars, I believe in that wholeheartedly. Everything I do, I want to be the very best at it. And I'm not going to take it easy on those dudes. So if you're a safety, you better be the best damn safety on the field whenever you're on the field, all right? So I'm going to say that. You have to be a dog. You have to be tough. I love to play physical. I want my safeties to play physical. All right, and then more importantly, you gotta be a man. All right, a dog on the field with a man off of it. You gotta be smart. You gotta take care of your brothers. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got. Something I stood on, and something I made sure of all my safeties over, like I said, the last 10 years still. Secondly, on Friday nights, Friday evenings, right before we walk down this hallway for 10 years, do the Jaguar. I will high five all my safeties and salute them. All right, the reason is, and I hate the thought that football is like war, because it's not, especially in today's climate. I'm real iffy with comparing football to war. But as a kid, I was always fascinated by war movies, Saving Private Ryan, Top Gun, things like that. So the reason behind the salute is, like I said, Top Gun. I always get the image in my head of the fighter pilots when they get into their jets. They're all lined up, and they're currently going down the line, salute. All right, the last salute before they go off into battle. To me, that lets them know that's a sign that they're ready. All right, they're ready to go complete their mission. So, like I said, before I go into these guys, it's important that you guys know what it takes to be a safety and what that means to me, the salute means to me. Who's that over there? Hunter. All right, I'll start with Hunter. Hunter Gray, what he's done in the last 2 years, I got to start back. It's what, sophomore year? Is that when you transition from receiver to Junior year, even crazier. Junior year, he transitioned from receiver, had a crowded position. Why don't you come over and play safety? Didn't know much about Hunter. Didn't know anything about Hunter because Hunter doesn't talk. All right, so I'll say that. Didn't know jack squat about Hunter. Another guy in my position, all right, you have to be a dog. What do I need to do to get Hunter to become a dog? Don't know how much that junior year he was taking in everything during the summer, all right? But as we got to the season, Hunter found himself starting on JV. Like I said, first time, he's only been practicing it for maybe 5 to 6 weeks, 2 months at the time. So to be a starter on the JV team, to overjump all the other DBs in front of him, that's a special feat. So it's his junior year. Most juniors want to play varsity, all right, as juniors. They're thinking about that. So Hunter, I'm assuming, like I said, because Hunter doesn't talk, I'm assuming he's grinding his butt off to get to varsity. And by the end of his junior year, Hunter was playing significant time in the state title game. Once again, came from being a soft receiver. I'm just saying because McFall's looking at that. He went from being a receiver to its safety on the state title team. That's nuts in that short span of time. Our safeties in our scheme have to be QBs. It's not an easy challenge to understand all the technique that we talk about and then to apply that same scheme in the games and then have enough success to where you're doing it on the state title stage. All right, so fast forward to this year, I challenged Hunter to be more vocal. All right. I knew from his junior year, like I said, being a JV coach, I got to watch him firsthand have success. So I knew he could be special coming to this year, but I wanted to push him even more. I said, Hunter, I want to see more personality come out of you. I want to see that passion come out of you. And he knows, like, man, I can just shake my head. Hunter on the state championship Saturday, he's making plays, flying around, flexing, high-fiving dudes. So I never saw it come in a million years. So Hunter, it was like all the accolades, the rings we're gonna get here in a second, none of that can hold weight to me watching you turn into a beast. And I told you that on Saturday, man, you went from a quiet kid to a straight beast out on the field. And it was evident that you was having fun, hitting people, flying around, having a lot of success. So I'm very proud of you, Hunter. Like I said, I will never forget how you leaped and bound, like the leaps and bounds that you took to get where you are right now as a safety. All right, Cole Carter. Not 2020 season, but 2019 season, Jack McGuire was our safety. He was our heart and soul of our team, honestly. He was the free safety at the time. But if any of you remember, he went down for maybe half, the first half or a quarter of the season. It was a nice chunk of games. So Cole got to play free safety for me then. But when he wasn't playing free safety, he was in the corner for Coach Nichols, also another quiet kid. So I kind of knew he was special, but I hadn't tapped into his personality personally yet. So same thing, flash forward to this summer, going into 2020, sit down with him, gave him that exact same challenge. You're a special kid, probably one of the most athletic in our position. We got a lot of young kids who need direction. I need you to talk. I need you to be a leader. That's what I put on this plate. Didn't have to talk X and O's because he's a little mini coach himself. I don't have to talk X and O's with him, but I talked other things, how he can become a better football player. And that was the biggest thing. Be a vocal leader. And Cole took that and ran with it, man. Like I said, he's goated at the free safety position, and we had a lot of goats, man, at that spot. Ben Hansen, Joe Don, and he's right there, if not above all those guys. So same thing, Cole. Let me say this. He made a lot of freaking plays, state championship Saturday, flying around. It was so fun to watch, man. But like I said, away from all that, it was so cool to see you grow into a man. and I'm very excited about your future, man, because I know you're going to do good things because all the good things that you showed me. And then, like I said, you were up to the challenge, getting you out of your comfort zone, and you handled that with flying colors. So I'm very, very, very excited about your future, and I'm going to be cheering for you. All right. On the flip side of that, Trey has been with me for 3 years. I'm a big video game guy. Played a lot of Madden growing up, so it's a pretty cool reference to me. If I was starting a franchise, and you know how we all do, we always make ourselves in the game, and we make them 99, we make them prototypical players. I would say Trey is the prototypical safety. Everything I could imagine one of my safeties being, Trey did. Smart. 4.0 GPA, something like that. Like that's nuts. And then to turn around and put that same attention into details that he put into his schoolwork, he puts into his preparation every day. All right, so he knows how to prepare himself week to week. He's physical, he's mean, he's athletic, he's a good leader, he's a good teammate. Like I said, he's the prototypical safety. If I could, like I said, pull one out of the Madden, or it would look like Trey. So I'm very proud of Trey. Like I said, you exceeded my expectations like crazy. Going into the summer, didn't have the same talk with Trey that I had with those guys, but I said, Trey, you have the most experience coming back, and we have a lot of new faces and new roles. I need you to be my rock. And he was, man. He led by example all year long, mentored a lot of these younger guys who are going to have really bright futures. So Trey, like I said, I can't thank you enough for being the leader of our group. So, talk about this. I felt like this was my senior season with you guys. Knew it all along. Didn't want to bring it up to anybody. Literally didn't tell anybody. But I put a lot of emphasis on this season, just like you guys did. So I couldn't ask for a better exit from the program, shall I say. You guys were awesome all year long. And shout out to all my safeties, really. Hands down, the best safety group I ever had in 10 years. So clap it up for you guys. Other than that, I feel a little tear coming down my cheek, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I just want to salute you guys one more time before I walk off the stage.
The one word that always comes to my mind when I think about this group is preparation. Coach Hutchins always gives out scouting reports, and these guys, the detail they put into that was just amazing. And week in and week out, it was just, they just kept trying to top each other. I think that's what they were trying to do. So I'd also say collectively, this might be the smartest position group in the history of Kansas football. I think collectively, on average, I think the ACT score was 31 roughly, something like that, 30, 31. So tremendous group. Very proud of you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. We got running backs. Coach Barnes.
Take your time.
You're the only one. All right. So Coach Barnes, I get the privilege of talking about my guy, Quinn. Had the privilege of having him for 3 years. When I was student teaching here, I heard all about him when he was a freshman. So I was like, I gotta make sure I get that guy and turn him into something special. Not that I did anything. It's all his talent. He just makes me look really good. So just going off of what they said, Coach T, Coach McFall, about having kids that don't talk. Quinn talks, sometimes to the other team too much, sometimes to his own teammates. too much. Sometimes to me when he's mad at me because he wasn't turning in his homework or something like that. There's a lot of memories I have with Quinn. I have two stories. I asked him before we started. I said, how many stories, how many jokes can I tell? Because I have a lot. There's a lot of memories, a lot of phone calls to Quinn, early morning, 5:30 practice, 0 hour, a lot of those phone calls. But just the first one, he was a sophomore, and I remember we were doing indie skills, David JV game, and he gets up out of it. We were doing stance and starts. He stands up and he looks up at the gate, up at the ticket boxes, and I'm just like, what are you looking at? And he forgot his girdle, so he had to. His mom was up there. He runs up, he goes and gets it, comes back down, and comes back to indie skills. And the reason I tell that story is, I think the week of the state championship game, he forgot something again. So it was something that we tried to work on, but it's just Quinn, and I love him for it. The second story, I teach PE at Prairie Ridge, so I get to deal with all grades and all levels. And I always tell Quinn that I think I told him more often than them to tie his shoes. And he knows how to tie his shoes. They don't. So I think every practice, at least 10 times, I told him to tie his cleats. And when he got his cast on his hand, I tied his cleats quite a bit towards the end of the year. And it was all up. He knows that. So just really quick, I want to talk about some of the accomplishments that Quinn had. He was a terrific player. So many things that he can do that's just really hard to teach. His vision as a running back, his quick twitch, everything he does is really, really natural to him. So a lot of the things that I taught him weren't necessarily about the game, more about his life and teaching him to be accountable for things. And I hope some of that rubbed off on him. Hopefully he takes that, on down the road the rest of his life. But as a junior, obviously he was playing behind Tyler Green, T. Green. And I got really lucky back to back with these two guys. But he had 149 carries, 832 yards, and 10 total touchdowns as a junior, playing behind one of the best running backs that I've ever seen. So that's a great accomplishment for him. And then this year, and I held him to a really, really high standard coming into this year, throughout everything we went through with COVID and quarantine. And we had a lot of conversations about goals and what we needed out of him. I thought he had a great year. He finished with 189 carries, 1,238 yards, 15 total touchdowns. He had 8 consecutive games of 100 or more yards, and 6 of his 9 games were 125 plus. So he finished his career 354 yards, 2,119 yards rushing, 354 carries, 26 total touchdowns. He averaged 6 yards a carry. As a running back, 6 yards a carry is very hard to do. So I'm very, very proud of him for that. And just outside of stats, he was a wonderful kid. I love him to death, and I'm going to miss him a lot. And I'm going to stop now before I start to cry. I'm going to move it on. Okay.
So Quinn and I gone through a lot together, had a lot of long talks together, but I love him for it though, and I will cherish those talks, to be quite honest with you, even when sometimes they're the tough talks. But I will say this, Quinn has an unbelievable personality that's going to carry him to do great things, and I have no doubt in my mind. We can talk about stats, we can talk about all these things that go with being a great running back, and you get a lot of glory doing that. One of the things I appreciate most about Quinn is that he worked to get better as a blocker and got much better all year long. And that's not easy as a back. And I think also, too, the other thing I'll say is I think Quinn will be the first person to tell you the reason why he's had success is because of that line in front of him. So, but I do appreciate you, Quinn. Love you, man. Thank you for everything. Okay, next up, D-line. Coach Cox.
Right, this is the senior goon squad right here, and this group holds a special place in my heart. It's gonna be real hard to see them go, but the thing that I love about them the most is, as a group, I've never had a more hardworking group. I've never had a more focused group, and I hope that the young guys learn from them. Obviously, that's something that, to me, is the biggest thing. As a coach, each year, we're getting the younger group moving up, like what we've been talking about. And this group really showed the younger guys how to be great football players and great people as well. So I got to thank them for that. And going through individually, starting with Ethan, the best D lineman I've ever coached. And obviously, he's got all the hardware and all the awards to prove that. But the thing that really I think people need to know is the hard work and focus that this guy brings to practice every single day, whether it's in a drill or film time. And the thing that I admire the most as well is he's humble. Obviously, he's had the success, he's played great games, but that never took away from the work ethic and the focus that he brought to practice every single day. Now, as far as the best play or my most memorable play for him, there's a lot of them, but I think the one that kind of sticks out right now is the one that a kid about 15 miles away probably remembers pretty well, pretty good as well, and that is the hit that he made in the Soto game this year on number 13, and that play also to me shows his intelligence and his focus. He was coming over from offense. We were going out on D, and Coach Hudson said, "Can you knife?" And he said, "Yeah." And so for us, that means he's going straight to the quarterback, and it's something that we repped a few times during that week, but just a few times. This is late in the game. Once again, I think it goes back to that focus, that intensity. He came out and laid the biggest hit I've ever seen in a high school football game. Took his soul. This is the type of hit that we call that. But that's just an embodiment of how Ethan plays. And this kid played both sides of the ball every single snap, offense and defense, all year long. And like I said, he never let up from the beginning snap to the end. So, Ethan, it's been an honor coaching you. And I know that it's going to be a while before I ever get the chance to coach somebody like you again. I know you're going to be successful in not just football at School of Mines, but in everything that you do. So, appreciate it. Next up, we have Caden Casella, and he came over from another school, and I've admired the way that he just jumped in. Obviously, I'm not always that fun to deal with, and especially when you're coming in, I'm not going to take it light on you, but he never gave any excuses. He jumped in and fit in with the program, did everything that we asked him to do day in and day out at practice, and I admire him for that. All right? So I appreciate you coming over and spending your senior year with us. So great job this year. Pete, smiling goon right here. Now Pete is the do-it-all guy. I thought we were going to get him on the D-line sophomore year, but he was asked to play quarterback for JV. Never batted an eye. Said sure, jumped in, just wanted to play. Junior year, thought we were going to get Pete on the D-line. We needed somebody at corner. Didn't bat an eye. He jumped in and made some big plays for us at corner. This year, we were lucky enough to get him, and he jumped right in at defensive end. Once again, not always the easiest to play for me, but he battled through all the yelling and mistakes and was the solid end for us this year. And I think my favorite play of Pete was really a culmination of the entire season. you know, he ended up, like I said, getting better every single game, and then getting the fumble that sealed the game in the state championship game. So another thing about Pete is we call him the Smiling Goon because he always brings a ton of energy, and he's always cracking a smile. He always has jokes. He's always trying to break us down at the end of practice and make me mad. But I'm gonna miss his energy and his jokes, and you know, it really livened up our group. You know, as a D-line coach, I don't always get the most talkative guys, so it was awesome to get somebody like Pete and really add to our practice. So thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. All right, Cole Nappin. This is gonna be real hard for me. Hard to see go. A guy that really, I wasn't gonna cry either. But first of all, when I think of Cole and how he played, it was just relentless. And I really don't have a favorite play. When I think of the plays that he made, my favorite plays were when the football was trying to go outside to his side, whether it was a toss or sweep. He would just put his head down and fly down the line. And he was going to get to that football no matter what. You know, and I think that summed up his attitude. You know, Coach Hudge and I would joke, but it's a great compliment. We would call him awkwardly athletic. And remember, this is coming from a 6'7", dangling skinny guy, so it's okay, it's a compliment. But he was always in the right place at the right time. Even though, you know, maybe some people would say he's not the fastest guy, he would always find a way to get it done. And so that really stands out to me as the type of player that Cole was. Now, obviously, he suffered an injury in the middle of the season, and that was the hardest week for me. But another thing that he taught me was how to deal with adversity. You know, we're talking 17, 18-year-old kid that finds out his senior year is over. And Monday, you know, come in and it's, Coach, here's what's going on, and here's what I'm going to do to get better. And I want to be at every practice that I can be. I want to support you guys in every way that I can. And that just blew me away. And, you know, knowing what I know about Cole, it didn't surprise me. But I think that just showed how composed and really how grown up he is, and how easily he handled adversity and handled it even better than I did. So, Cole, I'm going to miss you, and appreciate everything you've done for D-line and for our program. So, appreciate it. Also forgot to mention he's going to continue his career at Washburn, and I know he's going to do great things there. All right, next up, we got Timmy. Now, Timmy doesn't blink. Then he just did. With Timmy, he didn't get a lot of meaningful varsity time until he did. And that happened to be the state championship game. You know, biggest game of our team this season, and obviously of his career. Second quarter, shake goes down. Timmy, you're up. And that right there is what I got. And he went in and just got after it. You know, he was playing the biggest D-line that we played all year, offensive line we played all year. He's maybe 215 pounds, and he played with low pads, ran his feet, and played his ass off. You know, and it's a hell of a way to end senior year and end his career. And to back up a little bit, you know, Timmy was a guy that just showed up every single day, didn't expect anything, didn't complain about anything, And so I don't think he could have wrote a better way to end his career here at Mill Valley. And I couldn't be more proud of the way he ended it. And I'll never forget that. So good job. Last, we got Tyler Harwick. Tyler was a guy that I know was questioning whether he wanted to stay with football or not, and he did. And he showed up every day, and he practiced hard. He was a big scout guy for us, and was somebody that, once again, never complained, worked his tail off, and he's a part of 2 state championships. And I know he wouldn't give that up for anything, and I wouldn't give up getting a chance to coach him. So I really appreciate everything you've done for this program as well, Tyler. Thank you. Like I said, it's going to be really hard to see this group go. I came in 4 years ago when these guys were freshmen, so I really feel like this is kind of my group that I've seen them from the very beginning to the end. And so I love every single one of you guys. And once again, I appreciate everything that you've done for our program and really for our younger guys as well, through your leadership. So thank you.
The thing I love about this group is there's, as you can see, 6 of them up here, there's 4 D-line spots. And so, as seniors, going into that, knowing that you may not get all the playing time that you want, but every one of these guys up here were great teammates. And they cheered for each other, they helped each other, they prepared each other, whether it was on scout team or whether it was as a starter. And so that's one thing that I really appreciate about them the most, is just that they were great teammates and they love each other, as they should. So thank you guys, appreciate everything. All right. Next up, quarterback. Coach Foster. All right, Cooper. It's awkward when it's just you and me, huh? Should I tell them how goofy you are? Okay, I will. So it's been an absolute blast to coach Cooper over the last couple of years. I came 2 years ago, and he's going to be a junior. Presumably the spot is his, unless something drastic happens, and that's not always something that's easy to do, to meet a new coach, get used to a new coach, hear a different type of voice, maybe a different way to do different things, or philosophy, how we can film and stuff like that. But Cooper didn't hesitate and attack things right away, and I always appreciated that. But I want to talk just for a couple minutes about what you do behind the scenes, because what you do on the field is easy for people to see because of the nature of the position. We talk in the quarterback room a lot, not only with him, but the younger guys as well. You always get more credit than you deserve, and you're always going to get more blame than you deserve. Have big shoulders and deal with it. That's just part of the gig. But a year ago, on January 8th, 2020, before we knew COVID was going to mess everything up, we sat down and had a meeting about the off season and the upcoming season. And I asked Cooper, what kind of goals did you have for your senior year? And the first 2 things right out of his mouth were, I want to decrease interceptions, I want to be able to read coverages better. So he wanted to study the game and be a better student of the game. And then right after that, he said, and obviously I want to win state again. And so we had a short conversation about how we were going to go about doing some of those things. And I said, well, what about any individual goals? Do you have anything like that? And he kind of hesitated, and he goes, well, I said, it's fine, tell me. And he said, I want to win a 5-day Offensive Player of the Year. And he said, because if I win that award, that will prove that our offense is something to be reckoned with again. And I thought that was really neat that he wanted to win an individual award that would validate the offense as a unit. And that's kind of who Cooper is. That's something I admire the most about him. In that meeting, we talked a lot about expectations. We just won a state championship. You're going to be a returning starter, a senior, so there's going to be a lot of people watching. And I remember telling him, people know who you are now. Defensive coaches are going to game plan for you, and they're going to do a lot of things to try and mess you up, and you're going to have about 25 seconds every play to figure it out and then to execute. And he was ready for that challenge, and he was excited about that. We talked about being the dude, being able to handle that pressure, both here walking the halls in Mill Valley, knowing you're QB1, you're a returning champion. People expect you to play well, expect this offense to play well. That's the expectation Cooper had, I had for him, coach, all the offensive coaches, and then just how to handle that kind of stuff, how to remain calm during the chaos, how to handle pressure, how to be able to think and perform. And that's one of the most things I'm proud of Cooper is he didn't let the brightness of the lights or the severity of the moment or the bigness of the game get to him. He was just ready to play ball. So, and you could tell right away at the beginning of the season just how grateful Cooper was that we were going to play football. All through the summer, working with the other offensive groups, he just was excited. He just seemed to be glad to get out there. Had just lost the baseball season due to COVID and lost the second part of your junior year in baseball, or excuse me, sophomore year to an injury. And so you could tell Cooper was just ready to go play sports. He was just ready to go play ball. He's an absolute blast to coach. He's so much fun. We're both a little bit goofy. Our humor works. We get each other. One of the best traits about Cooper is he doesn't get bothered that much. And I try, believe me. I try to poke him and give him a hard time, and he just kind of shrug it off. He was always cool, calm, and collected, except for trash talking with Trey and Cole during 7-on-7, which I just absolutely loved. It used to crack me up. But he proved his calm in the chaos, both state championship games, the biggest games, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and then had one of his best statistical games, his final game as a Mill Valley Jaguar and as QB1, and threw an absolute dime to Ty Righteous for 91 yards. When I could have done a backflip, but I hurt my hip or something. So to you, Cooper, I have a couple thank yous. Thank you for trusting me early, for being coachable from day one. Thank you for being a good sport when I would hit you with hand shields and bags when we were simulating a pass rush, or we had to test out your rhythm to see if you could come back. Those were some of my favorite drills. Thank you for being a great teammate to the other quarterbacks, for showing them what work ethic means, both in the film room, on the field, how to conduct yourself, and what it means to be a QB1. Thank you for competing every day and being relentless to get better. Thank you for making my job fun. It really was. This should be fun. We've had a lot of success here, which makes it more fun, but the game in itself should always be fun. We made that fun. So I'm super excited to watch you play baseball finally this season. Can't wait to get out there on Thursday. If I can ever do anything to help you in life, in sports, you can call, I've got your back. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your coach. I love you, and thanks for the memories.
Two real quick stories that really stick out in my mind about Cooper. One is after we won in 2016, the only eighth grader that I can remember that came up and shook my hand and said, "Congratulations, it's Cooper." And I remember saying to him, "Now it's time for you guys to get you one." And he just nodded his head and said, "Yes, sir." Fast forward to his sophomore year, we had a quarterback race that going into the preseason, decided who was going to start. We had a senior, and Cooper was a sophomore. And I remember we had decided who was going to start, and so we took him out back behind the field house. Both of us sat down with him, and we announced who the starter was going to be. And I looked right at Cooper, and he had a little tear in his eye, and I was like, "Heck yeah, man, that's exactly what we want out of our starter right there." The competitive fire that he had, and it showed on the Senate Fridays. But the best thing about Cooper, he's a great teammate. He loves every one of his teammates. He's always trying to bring everybody up, always brought that energy that needed. And man, I'm going to miss him, and I love you, and thanks for everything you've done.
All right, so I have the privilege of coaching the corners this year. As you can see, for a position group that only has 2 spots on the field, a pretty senior age group. Very happy to have all these guys here be able to coach them this past year. Just to talk about some of them, going through alphabetical order. We'll start with Taggart. There's something you need to know about Tag. He only has 1 speed, that is going 100% no matter what. So whether if we're going through drills, supposed to be 50% drills, Tag is going 100%, and Blake is usually on the receiving end of that. But that just kind of tells you the mindset Taggart has. Very, very hard worker. But I think even more important to note is that he always put his teammates first. You know, whatever role it was, and towards the end of the year, it started to be more of a scout team role. He took immense pride in that role. And he loved being a scout team running back, even though he was a corner. That's what he did the entire practice. When the team rolled around, he would, you know, put on the scout jersey, and then he would be ready to tote the rock against our defense. And I know that it got our defensive dudes up. And, I mean, the success we had as a defense, a lot of that can be contributed to Tag and all that he did. And I know that he battled some injuries this year and, you know, kept him out a little bit, and he probably didn't get the varsity reps that he wanted, but he never let that affect that he accepted his role. So we were better because of Taggart Baker this year. Thanks for that. Next, we'll talk about Gabe. So Gabe came back to us after being away from football for a year, and I'm very, very glad that Gabe came back. He probably didn't see as much time on Friday nights as he would have liked, but again, that did not affect his mindset, did not affect the fact that he was a team first player. And something that always struck me about Gabe is that he was just a competitor. When he got scout team reps against the varsity receivers, he would treat those like his Friday night reps. And he would go out and compete. He played with a little chip on his shoulder. And that type of attitude around this position group, I think, is something that rubbed off on everybody. So Gabe, very glad that you came back. I got to coach for another year. All right, next we'll talk about Blake. I remember Blake when he was a freshman. I thought that he could be a very, very good corner. Unfortunately, when sophomore year rolled around, he was on the offensive side of the ball. I didn't win that battle of trying to keep Blake on defense. So he played a year at running back, mostly a scout team running back. Then when junior year rolled around, Coach Hutchins, he's a pretty good negotiator in those meetings about trying to get people on different sides of the ball. And we got Blake back. And I was very, very excited to have him as a junior. As you can see, Blake's not the tallest guy in the world, but that didn't hold him back at all. Last year, he split some time with Pete, who would be remiss not to mention Pete being a corner the previous year. So Blake split some time last year, but as the season went on, he really started to pick it up. And he was someone I knew that when senior year rolled around, he was someone that we could trust to basically walk down an entire side of the field. And going into the senior year, I remember talking with him before the season, you know, we were going to have a senior leader in this group. And Blake was the senior returner with the most experience, and that is absolutely a role that he dominated. All right, he was the leader of this group. He was the heart and soul of that room. And can't say enough things about Blake. The career that you had, that's a testament to your hard work, and it was a pleasure to coach you the last few years. So last we'll talk about Luke Springer. He came back to us after a year off, and as you can see, he added quite a bit in the height to this position. So I was happy to see that. I remember in the summer when they were sending in their videos on band. I remember Pringle sent his in, and I was like, it's pretty clear that he hasn't moved back in about a year and a half. So it was going to take some work to get there. But the thing I love about Pringle is that he was just so committed to getting better. We switched up his technique about 3 or 4 times to try to figure out what was best for him. He didn't complain. He just took coaching. And then the thing that I really will always remember about him is he just has an infectious smile on his face every single day. He just loved being around football. You could see it in the way that he paid attention to watching film early in the morning, the detail that he put in his scout reports. And then as the year turned on, he really became that guy that we could trust at that other corner spot. And he did a really great job going up against receivers that he would be the first to admit are way faster than he was. But he worked on his technique, and he started to lock people down when the year came up. So very, very happy that Luke came back and was quite a coach.
can't say enough about this group. They're great seniors. And I know that this next group coming up, they're going to have some big shoes to fill, but just look at what these guys did this year, and they gave you a perfect blueprint for what you need to do in the future. Thanks, guys. I think that, again, the way I describe this group is they truly were role models, because they all had a role, and they all played that role to their absolute best ability. And that's one thing that every day in practice we appreciate about you. Thank you guys very much. Proud of you guys. All right. Okay, we're going to recognize, I guess the last thing I'm going to say about this senior class is, well, not the last, is they were just, again, they were a pleasure to be around. They knew expectations are high, and they met those expectations. And it's truly because of their leadership. And when people ask me about what is success for a team, or what is success for a senior class, well, if we can have young men that are going to move on, and we know they're going to do great things, whether they go to college or not, whether they go into the workforce, whether they become husbands, fathers, that's the kind of success we want to see. And if the winning comes as a part of that. And these guys all have that in them. And we're excited to see them move on in the future. So I want to recognize the Leadership Council. Just stand. Cole Clotter, Jacob Hartman, Sam Hecht, Ethan Kramer, Cooper Marsh, Ty Righteous, Trey Rooster. These 7 were voted on by the teammates this past summer. And they did a tremendous job of leading this team. And again, congratulations, and proud of you guys. Oh, yeah, Kristen. Oh, yeah. Come on up here. I'll be talking about you. Forget about that. Why would we forget about that? All right, Chris. My bad. Kind of like that time when you kicked it back to the Michigan guy and scored a touchdown. He said, my bad. Anyway, Chris has come a long way since his freshman year. I think he's grown about 10 inches, feels like, gained about 50 pounds. But man, he became a weapon for us. What he did, you see in the records he's broke as part of this program. And the weapon that he was with our kickoffs was just, I can't say enough about it. What it allowed our defense, the field position to have when they stepped on the field was just tremendous. Been a huge part of our success. The thing I love about Chris is every day he showed up, he had a plan, we gave him a plan, and he carried that out during practice, except for onside kicks. Because every time we practice onside kicks, I have to be done. How do you get practicing this? No, sir. But anyway, it's not easy being a kicker in our program because it can be lonely at times. We had Jesse over there with him, but they actually work on their own during practice. And again, I think the talent that he has and what he has shown is the reason why he had the self-discipline to show up to practice every single day and work on the things that he needed to work on. And not only that, outside of practice. If you ever drive by Jaguar Stadium and see the ball flying through the uprights, I guarantee you Chris is there kicking. He's always here working. And that work ethic is going to take you a long ways. I have no doubt you're going to do great things at K-State. And I'm not putting pressure on you, but I see a bright future for a long time in what you're doing. So congratulations, and thank you very much for what you've done. It's a true story about me. All right, so we're going to move on to the individual awards here. And Coach Scott's going to talk about the offensive freshman of the year.
We had pretty successful years we talked about earlier. We do give a player of the year, so we do give an award to one individual, but it could have gone to a lot. That speaks a lot to the talent level that we had. It would have been very easy to give this to 6 or 7 different people that had a year for us, but this kid, he was a joy to coach, and I've never coached one like him. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with his talent level. I know his work ethic. I know his family, and it's going to carry him through. And I can't wait to see where he's going to go with this. But offensive player of the year goes to Tristan Baker.
So I'll be talking about the freshman defensive player of the year. But before I do that, I kind of want to talk about the freshman defense a little bit. This was a great group to coach, a ton of fun. Just their work ethic, the way they bought into preparation, was really special. Probably my favorite memory of this group was Rockhurst week. They're going to think that's a little weird since it's the only game we lost. But the thing about that Rockhurst week was before that we were supposed to play Olathe East. Well, we have a game plan put in for Olathe East. They end up calling us canceling. So we had to work that night to put in a game plan for Rockhurst. We give it to the kids the next day. We get on Rockhurst, practice for them. Olathe East calls again. Now the game's back on. So we tell the kids, all right, let's scrap the Rockhurst week. Now we got to go back to Olathe East. So they beat Olathe East. We have 2 days to prepare for Rockhurst, Thursday and Sunday. And then they go out that Monday and give up a touchdown. Which is tough to do. And to be able to focus up like that and study and do what you need to do, in a weekend, says a lot. So that was a lot of fun to coach this group. Thanks to Coach Esther as well. I know he enjoyed it, did a great job with defensive line this year. And then this defensive player of the year goes to a kid who has a great work ethic, really led our defense. Extremely hard worker, can't wait to see his future. And that's Blake Nice.
Okay, our next award is going to be the Big Stick Award. Coach House is going to present it. Real quick, we talk about this every year, but these individual awards, we do give them out. But ultimately, these awards are because of team success. We always talk about all-state awards and things like that with kids. Those come because of team success. There's not very many 1 and 8 or 2 and 9, whatever they are, that have all-staters and individual honors. And they all completely understand that this really ultimately comes from team success. So, Big Stick.
The Big Stick Award is one we give out each year that, usually garners some of the most debate amongst the coaching staff on who we want to award that with. It can be, an individual hit that everybody remembers, like Trey Worcester's hit in that sub-state game. I'll never forget that one. Or it could be someone who just brings the wood every day, okay, whether it be practice or in a game. The guy who's getting this is an extremely physical player. He's an old school guy who embodies the Big Stick Award to a T. Every single week in the scout report, he puts he wants to be the most physical player on the field. This year's Big Stick Award winner is Ethan Kramer.
All right, next one up is Offensive Scout Team Player of the Year. I think this is a very important one. Again, this is all about being a great teammate and buying into what we talk about as a program all the time and how it takes everybody. Everybody has a role and understanding that role. This young man, really just worked his tail off and continues to work his tail off and become the best player he possibly can be. And no matter what that role is, he's going to take it very, very seriously. And he's going to work extremely hard. And so very proud to give this Offensive Scout Team Player of the Year award to Augustine.
All right, next up is Defensive Scout Team Player of the Year. As Coach said, these are really important awards in our program. Coach talks every week about you need to find your role, you need to find a way to excel in your role. Both of these guys have done that. Each week we vote on Players of the Week, and a lot of times we'll argue in the coach's office about the Scout Team Player of the Week just as much, if not more, than the Player of the Week. And that's honestly the truth, because without guys that are finding those roles that maybe aren't on the stat sheet on Friday nights, and you don't have rings, you don't have championships, you don't get to hang banners. And that's honest truth. This guy, he brought his lunch pail every day. He worked extremely hard on the scout team. He won this award multiple times throughout the year. Made it really hard on our offensive line throughout the week just because of his relentless effort daily. And it's really beautiful to see that all pay off in the end when his number was called in the state championship game. He went out and did the same thing in that game. Timmy Pitter.
All right, that's a tremendous story. Just to add to that just a little bit is the fact that every day he showed up and worked, being a senior, whether it's scout team or whether it was through the rotation in the varsity, and being able to do the way he did in the state champion game. It's a tremendous story, tremendous testament to his character. Next one up is our most inspirational player of the year. We named this award after LJ Hatch, who now is playing Major League Baseball. LJ was a tremendous player in our program who, no matter what, every single day brought a happy personality, a personality that was willing to compete every single day. And the thing I loved about LJ was he was the type of kid that no matter what you were doing, he was going to compete. If there was a pickup basketball game, if there was a wiffle ball game, kickball game, didn't matter. Or if it was a practice, football practice. He brought the exact same energy every day, and that love of just competing. And this person this year truly embodied that every day, really grew into that throughout his high school career, and it kind of culminated to his senior year. And it was really fun to see that, and just the fact that he was just a fun guy to be around. So I want to present this to Rob Durbin. Okay, most improved player of the year. This was a heated discussion. There'll be several candidates for this. This young man, again, as we talked about him already, just the improvement he made from the end of the season in his junior year, okay, to the beginning and then eventually the end of his senior year was just hard to describe because he worked his tail off to get to where he is. And couldn't be more proud of him. It was a joy to coach him, and it's Saxton Hall. All right, offensive lineman of the year. Again, this young man made it a little more, or his peers made it a little more difficult to name this the offensive lineman of the year, but Sam, come on. As Coach T said, Sam really truly had a senior year, and couldn't be more proud of him. I'm excited to see what he has for the future at K-State. Gotta love Manhattan. It's sunny and 75 over in God's country. So.
All right, next up, defensive lineman of the year. I think I might as well call him up and talk about him while he's up here, Ethan Kramer. All right, this is an award. There's a rich tradition of defense linemen that's come through Mill Valley, and basically everyone that's won that award has been a first-team All-State guy. You go back to Zach Callahan, Anthony Brown, Cole Morris, Christian Roth, Ike Valencia. But we've never had a top 11 guy win this award, a multi-time first-team All-State, and that Buck Buchanan award I think says it all right there. As Coach Cox said, a technician and plenty of talent on the field, but what separates Ethan is his mental side of things. His mindset's second to none. Really unbelievable opportunity to coach someone like that and see the success he's had. Made us better as a defense and as a team as a whole, and really going to miss having Ethan around. So congrats, Ethan.
Again, very well deserved. All right, Special Teams Player of the Year. Again, had some discussion, but it's hard not to settle, obviously, on Chris. Come on up. Like I said earlier, he has the record for our program for field goals in a game with 3, field goals in a career, longest field goal. And then this year, I think he had well over 60 touchdowns. Is that right? Yeah. So again, the weapon he was just tremendous. Again, can't say nothing about his work ethic. So very well deserved, and congratulations. All right, Offensive Player of the Year. This was a tough one. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's a lot of weapons we had. A lot of you look at what our offense was, and we had 11 starters, and we had about 13, 14 guys that played a significant amount. You can give it to about anyone. I think everybody in this room that played offense truly believes that we were a unit. And the reason why we won is that all 11 played extremely, extremely hard. And they were all great teammates. This year's Offensive Player of the Year is Cooper Marshall. Just real quick, I kind of give you some stats of Cooper, which is he had an amazing career here in Mill Valley. In his career, he passed for 3,702 yards, 26 touchdowns, and rushed for 1,531 yards, 23 touchdowns. Probably the most amazing thing about his career is in 2 state championship games. He counted for 361 yards passing, 370 yards rushing, and 10 touchdowns in 2 games. That's pretty good. And again, what I love about Cooper, he's the perfect teammate, and he loves his teammates. And I think he'd be the first to get credit for everybody else. So, thank you. Good job, bud.
All right, kind of echoing what Coach said. I feel the same way about the defense. There's a lot of guys that deserve praise for this season defensively. Overall, probably the best defense that we've had here. I know some groups are going to kill me for saying that. overall, the stats don't lie against the schedule that we played. When you come out and hold Derby to 7 until the last minute of the game, and you have the quietest and the shutout until the last minute of the game, or last seconds of a game, really, you're really talking about a special defense. I think the preparation across the board, set the bar very high for the guys coming up, and I think also prove that the talent, the potential that's mentioned tonight really doesn't mean anything. It's about your work ethic and what you put forth every day in this program that'll make you successful. So please look to these guys, an example they set forth, and try and follow that as you guys come through this program. Our defensive player of the year this year, I talked about him a little bit earlier tonight. I think we were able to do a lot of things with this guy in terms of getting us set. He has incredible instincts for the game. He can read his key. He can react correctly, go make plays. He brings some explosion and some physicality at the point of contact. Made some absolutely incredible plays this series all over the field. State championship game, made 2 of the biggest plays in that game in terms of changing the game with 2 takeaways, 2 forced fumbles, and then also 2 fumble recoveries. Some big sacks in that game and a couple big 4th down stops. And, we wouldn't have been able to do some of the things we did in that game without him as Sophomore and JV.
All right, lifter of the year. In our program, I think I've said this at every banquet award ceremony we've ever had. Lifter of the year is probably the biggest reward we can hand out. It's the people that show up every day, work their tail off, and excel in that portion, which allows them to be a great athlete. This year we decided on 2. We couldn't decide on specifically one. We had 2 that really kind of stood out. A lot of people stood out, actually, but these 2 kind of came to mind. Just the way they had a workman mentality, and they attacked every single rep that was in the weight room. If it was a warm-up, if it was a stretch, if it was, it didn't matter what we were doing, they were attacking what we were doing. And first one up, Cole Potter. Well, just a great mentality again. Every time he stepped in that room, it was business. And he wanted to be the best version of the football player that he could be. And it was that room. He would first tell you, I think that room is what allowed him to have the success that he had. And I love that about him. So next one, very similar again. Really transformed himself into being a tremendous player. Again, every single day, there was no question. He stepped in there and had that mindset. I'm going to attack today. I'm going to attack every single rep. I'm going to do everything I can to be the best at what I do. And that's Blake Martin. Congrats, Blake. All right. Next one up is our Broadbent Family Service Award. Okay. This is named after the Broadbent family who really served this community in a lot of ways, whether it was junior football, junior wrestling, always was there doing things to help this community, help this program, help these kids. And it was, again, a great family. It's an honor as the name of this award. We talk, again, a lot about our program, about what a servant leader is, how to be a servant leader, and how the best leaders are servant leaders. And we talk about success and how success is meant to be shared. And so we had 2 again on this. One of them, the first one was just the, again, consummate teammate, always there working, would do anything you asked him to do at any point in time, and then also help his teammates do the same. And he was just, again, a great joy to be around and a fun kid to coach, and that's Ty Rush's. All right, our second award winner, I talked about him one day after practice, and I talk to about our players all the time, how they need to appreciate the fact that some of what our managers can do. And Brady, come on up. Brady was a huge part of our success as a program for 4 years. This young man showed up every single day and asked what he could do to help these young men. Every single day he asked those questions, what can I do to help? And to me, that says a lot about your character. And because of that, I have no doubt you're going to be a very, very successful person in whatever it is you choose to do. But Brady was our right-hand man. He would always, if we needed music turned down, he would go up and do it. If we needed the clock turned on, he would go do it. If we needed somebody to keep score during the scrimmage, he'd go do it. If we needed somebody to film in the end zone, he'd go do it. He was always there to do whatever was needed to be done. And a great servant leader. Thank you, Brady. Okay, we're about done here. I know we've kind of gone a long time, but we all wanted to give the honor that these kids deserve. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time. And couldn't be more proud of them. As we get done here, we're going to do this first. I think some of you guys have already cheated and looked at them. A lot of you guys have noticed and walked up here with them on. Let's go ahead and open your rings. All right, so, one thing I want to say about a ring is I don't ever wear mine. I really don't look at it for August night, to be quite honest. But I think it's important to understand, because people ask all the time, like, can't you wait to get your ring? What's your ring like? Do you wear them? I'm like, I'm very proud of them. But people need to understand how hard it is to earn those. That's just a symbol of your hard work, is all that is. It's a symbol of the blood, sweat, and tears that you decide to put in. And the opportunity you put yourself in a position to have. But I can't stress enough, there is nothing easy about earning that. Nothing at all. And these kids have done above and beyond and really set the bar even higher for this program. And the senior class has really set the bar for a lot of these young kids to follow. But the great thing about it is they gave me great examples on what to do. Again, very proud of them, okay? So when we're done here, we're gonna watch the senior video. When it's done, you guys are welcome to stay, take some pictures if you want. If you want to go down to the gym, we'll turn the lights on, you guys take a picture in front of the banner. The only thing I ask is just be careful, be safe, do the right things. But more than welcome to take pictures of trophies. Like I said, like last year at this deal, you young guys, it'll be the last time you'll see these two things because you need to go earn one yourself. It's your time. Okay? And seniors, thank you. I want to thank all the parents, especially the senior parents, for allowing us coaches to have the opportunity to coach your son. It's been a tremendous joy for 4 years. Love every single one of these guys, and we're going to miss the heck out of them. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Let's give the parents a round of applause, guys. And then also, we'll take care of letters and pens. If you earned one, if you earned a letter, come up and get it. If you earned a pen, come up and get it as well too when it's all said and done. And then some of the anybody that earned All-State through the Coach Association, your plaques are here. So come up and grab those as well too. Okay? All right. No further ado, we'll watch this again.
We can feel the changes come, like a tight, breathing life into every heart. A hope for kinder times. As we walk this road together, there were times we felt alone. In the struggle we find a strength I'm yet to find. We carry courage, carry history. I'm all about to follow you. Wherever you come from, one dream finds you. Standing here and you know that you can make it. You got the whole world in your hands. You spend a lifetime working for this moment. And you are shining. You're all that you wanted to be. When you're able and free, peace with gravity, high above everyone can see. The spirit of your ecology, higher flame goes burning. When you leave all doubt behind, it's a giant leap for mankind. Peace we all shine. Carry your courage, carry the history. All of God before you. Wherever you come from, born of one dream finds you. Standing here and you know that you can. You got the whole world in your hands. You spent your lifetime working for this moment. And you are shining. You're all that you want. You are shining. You're all that you wanted to be. Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We make these memories for ourselves. Where our eyes are never closing, our hearts are never broken. Time's forever frozen to stay. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me close until our eyes meet. You will never be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it's the hour that will never piece me up. It's the only thing with us when we die. proud. We make these memories for ourselves. Where our eyes never close, our hearts were never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me close until our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, it's okay, baby. Inside these pages, you just hold me. I won't ever let you go before we come home. Before we come home. Before we come home. Before we come home. Oh, you can feel me inside the cause you go when you were 16. Next to your heartbeat that I should be. Keep it deep within your soul. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only once. Inside these pages, you just hold me. I will never let you go. When I'm ready, I will remember how you kissed me under the lamppost back on 6th Street, hearing you whisper through the phone, wait for me to come home.
So that concludes our program, but thank you very much. Seniors, you know you're always part of this family. You're always welcome back anytime. If you ever need anything at all, you know who to get hold of. So thank you very much.
Coach, the boys have the gift for you guys. We're all excited.
Okay. I guess you guys kind of come up here. All right. That sounds good too. Thank you.